Well, this is going to be part 2 of talking with a university professor, and we discuss kind of some of the negative things of van life. By the way, how do you like my new light? Pretty cool, eh?
Okay, let's talk about living in the van life, living in the van, and it can be relative to your life in general, relative to work. I'd like to understand what's good about living in the van. How does it support your life? And then I want to understand the challenges, how living in the van has, has its challenges. What's the bad side of living in a van? What are some of the challenges?
It's kind of like what I say is the day-to-day inconveniences. You know, like you have to have water. I'm carrying right now 19 liters. I'm about to increase to like 46 liters. Okay.
So where do you get your water?
There's lots of options, but what I found easiest is just to use a spigot. There's a couple spigots that I know of, and I just use a food grade hose. Okay. And I fill it, just run the hose from the spigot into the thing. Okay. I had ideas about, I bought this special container. It's like a cooler container you see in the offices. They dump it over and the water comes out. Yeah. And you can refill that at Safeway or Walmart or Canadian Tire for $2. I thought I was going to do that, but then I have to lift it and then I have to carry it. And whatever is easiest. So it's like figuring out what is the easiest solution. Urine removal is a big thing. My first 3 or 4 months, I was using this 10-liter container of pee. And I had this little backpack sloshing through Walmart to go dump it in the toilet, and it was ridiculous. I was laughing at myself thinking if people knew what was in my backpack. And then you have to dump it, and when you're carrying that amount of weight, it's sloshing everywhere and the stuff is spilling out, and I experimented a lot with how to get rid of pee. So that was definitely a negative. Okay. The bathroom thing is gross. Right. Another thing I find really interesting is that everything in a van smells. The area is so confined. I can put a cantaloupe in my fridge and smell it right through the fridge. The urine thing, when I empty it, I use a spray bottle of straight vinegar and I spray it down every time, and that drastically helps with the smell of pee. Okay. Which is really amplified. Even if there's a tiny drop, you can smell it. Okay. So that's negative. A big thing, which a lot of people have a hard time with when they transition to the van life, is heat. But I have this heater called the Wave 3. Can't see it, it's under my counter.
It's a propane heater?
It's a propane heater, but it's designed to be indoors. Okay. And as long as, like, my roof and fan are never closed.
Oh, no?
So, even in the coldest day of the winter, my roof fan is still open. So I get fresh air.
But doesn't the heat go out then?
Yeah, but I don't care.
Okay.
Because to fill a propane tank, it's $15, a 20-pound propane tank. So if I have to do that twice a month in the coldest part of the winter, I don't care if I spend $30 on propane. If I'm warm, it's more important. Right. Yeah. The worst part is, if it's -10 outside, it's -10 in the van. So when you come in, you've been out all day, you come in the van for the night, it's freaking freezing in here. It's not like an apartment where you turn the door, you open it, and you're home and it's warm and everything's fine. Yeah. Now you got to think about, okay, now I got to wait till my heater gets warm enough before I can take my big heavy jacket off. Right. So you're sitting in an ice box. So that to me is the biggest negative. Right. Yeah. Definitely. But there's solutions for that.
Yeah. How about the rain?
Rain doesn't bother me.
No.
I grew up here. Okay. So, I have a hood with a jacket on, or a jacket with a hood on it. When it's raining, I put my hood on.
And the van doesn't get damp and...
Not really. No. I mean, a lot of people have a problem with that, but this van is like, if you can see this wall right here, that's a ½ inch of insulation, and all this from here to here is all insulation. Okay. And there's like 2 inches of insulation in the roof. This is like, we're in like a big, huge styrofoam cooler. Great. So I don't have condensation issues because I'm heavily insulated. Okay. Which I learned is, a lot of people in Vancouver have big problems with the moisture, but I don't, because insulate and ventilate, fan on, lots of airflow, and keep it insulated. Okay. Other negatives?
What about the social aspect? So I know you've said it's been great that you've been able to connect with other people in the van community. But are there times where it's socially isolating to live in a van?
For example, dating.
Okay, so
dating is a
work?
big problem for male van dwellers.
Okay.
You're being judged, and I'm 46 years old. I'm not going to be, I'm not starting a family. I'm not. A female that's interested in me is not looking to me to start a family with and all that stuff. So it's a bit different because I'm older, but you get judged, and there's certain kinds of females that I know that I would never have a chance with. If she's like really dressed up and pretty and wearing fancy clothes, she's not going to want, I mean, maybe she is, but I would say the chances are strong they're not interested in people who are living in a van. They want people who are with a big income and a lot of quote-unquote security. So I would tend to navigate to people that are more open-minded, adventurous, things of that nature.
Right.
They're much more open to that part of it than someone who's very kind of into business and all that.
So there is certainly still a judgment.
Definitely. Definitely. I just imagine going on a date and then her saying, "Where do you live?" And I don't like to lie. So what am I supposed to do? Tell her the truth? And then it's like, bye. This date is now over. Or maybe she thinks it's cool. Like a lot of people, like you talk to Justin, and he'll tell you it's like they're like enthralled by it and they're fascinated and they want to learn more. But I think it really depends on the social circles you're in and the kind of people you're talking to.
Right. Okay. And then what about in terms of your other connections with family, with your kids, with...
My kids think it's pretty cool. I don't. My daughter's too young to really understand it, but my son just says, "Oh, that's cool." He's very adventurous, and I don't know. He's fine with it, but the rest of my family doesn't care. In fact, my dad is talking about moving into an RV at some point in the future, so he doesn't care. My mom passed away years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So yeah, so I have a very small family. We're not super close, so it's not a big deal.
No.
I know that is a big deal for a lot of people in the van life, though.
It varies from person to person. I've
you know what
I met this one couple actually that live in a van, and they were saying they have way more interaction with family now than they ever had before because people are because first off they're hanging out in beautiful spots. Right. So the family are like always coming down to hang out with them, and one, to check in and make sure they're okay, and two, to be part of this whole thing. So they're like, I got family all over the place, and then I got other people who are like, oh my God, my family won't talk to me now that I live in a van. So it's across the board.
I think a lot of what happens is that parents feel like they're being judged based on their kids. Okay. So if their kids aren't doing what they're supposed to do in terms of societal norms, that makes them look bad, and they're being judged by their friends because their son lives in a van. So now their son isn't a successful doctor, he's some guy living in a van doing whatever. So that, it's not a problem for me, but I know it is for a lot of people.
Okay. I've got one last question. A couple of weeks ago, actually about a month ago, I had a meeting with the mayor of Victoria, and she's very interested in this phenomenon of people living in vans because in Victoria, same as everywhere else, there's a shortage of labor, there's a housing crisis, and she sees, well, if people live in vans, at least more people can come to Victoria and work. So the question for you is, what can government, either be at the municipal level, the provincial level, what kind of infrastructure could be put in place to assist van dwellers that doesn't exist already?
All right, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Stay tuned for part 3 coming to a YouTube channel very soon. Thanks for watching, and be well, my friends.